Eliminate child sex crimes and save America. In recent weeks, operations by law enforcement have been carried out in multiple states in America. Many child victims were rescued and sex predators were arrested, marking a major breakthrough in tackling the evil problem of child trafficking. On March 3rd, authorities in Texas announced that 30 people were arrested and one child was rescued during an undercover human trafficking probe in Fort Bend County. Dubbed Operation Cupid, officials said the sting lasted about 3 days and targeted individuals who wanted to purchase sex. All those arrested in the operation were sex offenders rather than child traffickers, but they're as abhorrent as any other member of the evil chain that has claimed so many child victims. During a press conference at the Fort Bend County Justice Center, District Attorney Brian Middleton said, "Commonly known as Johns, they create the demand for human trafficking and contribute to the pervasive problem the community faces from these crimes. We are focused on saving victims by following basic economics. Removing the demand will reduce the supply." A couple of weeks earlier, on February 18th in Arizona, law enforcement officials said that an operation targeting sexual predators yielded 37 arrests. The Phoenix, Mesa, Chandler, and Tempe police departments partnered with Homeland Security and the Arizona Attorney General's office conducted the operation. The multi-agency effort, dubbed Operation Broken Hearts, focused on predators who have allegedly committed sex crimes or human trafficking. The suspects range in age from 21 to 66. Most are male, and many of those arrested live in the Phoenix area. The Phoenix Police Department, which was one of the agencies involved, said in a statement, "Throughout the operational period, officers and undercover detectives placed ads on websites and apps which are commonly sought out by suspects seeking illegal sex acts with children. These suspects solicited and/or brokered deals for various sex acts and were subsequently arrested." In Florida, there were 2 such operations reported in February. On February 5th, 38 were arrested in a local child pornography sting in Bay County. The week-long undercover operation targeted registered sex offenders and predators. All 38 arrested were men between the ages of 26 and 69. 29 of them were already registered sex offenders. On February 21st, the Marion County Sheriff's Office, with assistance from other local, state, and federal agencies, conducted a sting operation to identify and capture offenders seeking sex with children online. 12 people were accused of seeking sex with children, as well as transmitting harmful material to minors. Investigators said each of the defendants made arrangements to meet and have sex with a boy or a girl in Marion County between the ages of 13 and 15. In these 2 operations conducted in February, a total of 50 sex offenders were arrested, with the youngest being only 18 years old and the oldest being 69 years old. A creepy 4-minute clip released on February 22nd by the Volusia County Sheriff's Office shows Deputy Royce James tracking down a 13-year-old female victim to rescue her at the All-Suite Motel in Edgewater. James said as soon as he got into the room, the young girl ran up to him and hugged him. "She came running into my arms because she knew that she had been saved at that point." The girl requested James stay with her until she got home. He took her to a medical facility to be checked out and then took her home to her grandmother. "At one point, I did go back to my patrol car and cry. It was pretty emotional," James recalled. The 22-year-old sex predator who was in the motel room with the young girl was arrested and charged with interference with child custody and traveling to meet after using a computer to lure a child. In March, there were also such operations in Nevada, North Dakota, and Tennessee. Following a joint effort by several agencies in southern Nevada, 14 people were arrested for trying to solicit sex from children online. In Tennessee, the joint operation, named Operation Volunteer Strong, started months ago to track down 240 missing kids. On March 3rd, law enforcement authorities announced that 150 of the missing children had been successfully found. Tennessee Republican Representative Tim Burchett of Knoxville commended the joint agency effort. This operation had miraculous results, and I'm glad these children are reunited with their families. Sadly, this is a reminder there are sick and twisted people out there looking to exploit minors, Burchett said. Representative Burchett is right. There are sick and twisted people out there always. The criminals are being arrested, but it's astonishing to know that child sex crimes are so widespread even in the most conservative counties in states like Texas and Florida. So what must the situation be like in more liberal states? How much more nefarious of a market for child sex trade could there be elsewhere? It's a seriously disturbing concern. We know that President Trump, for the first time in the history of this country, set up an office in the White House designated and dedicated to fighting sex trafficking. The effort has made an incredible impact over the years, particularly towards the support for law enforcement. We all want to rescue the missing children, and all the patriots who support Trump and support law and order want to do that. But this will all be far from enough if the fight against child trafficking crimes is limited to just law enforcement, because there is a breeding ground for such crimes, creating the sick and twisted individuals who prey on children. To eliminate the crimes, the breeding ground must be destroyed. The breeding ground is the sick culture of pedophilia, a term originally used to describe a psychiatric disorder in which an adult experiences a primary or exclusive sexual attraction to prepubescent children. When it was recognized to be normal and condoned, it developed into part of the culture of promiscuity. Let's take a look at how this perverted culture started to form, how it has spread and developed, and what the evil root that caused all this is. In the United States, pedophilia really began to take shape in the 1970s, when various civil rights movements, especially the LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender movement, were in full swing. The LGBT movement has been closely associated with communism ever since the first utopians began touting the practice of homosexuality as a human right. Since the communist movement claims to emancipate people from the bondage of traditional morality, its ideology naturally calls for LGBT rights as part of its program of sexual liberation. Many proponents of sexual liberation who staunchly support homosexuality are communists or leftists. The Mattachine Society, founded in 1950, was an early national gay liberation organization in the United States. Communist and labor activist Harry Hay, with other fellow communists, formed the group with a collection of male friends in Los Angeles to protect and improve the rights of gay men. By promoting LGBT rights as sexual liberation, communists have normalized promiscuity in general. Pandora's box was opened long ago. In December 1978, David Thorstad, an American communist and Trotskyist, founded the North American Man-Boy Love Association, NAMBLA, a pedophilia and pederasty advocacy organization in the United States. Allen Ginsberg, another major public pedophile advocate of NAMBLA and a pioneer of the American gay rights movement, was a fellow communist and admirer of Castro in Cuba. Another major pedophile and pederast advocacy organization, the Childhood Sensuality Circle, CSC, was founded in 1971 in California by a student of Wilhelm Reich, a German communist and the originator of sexual liberation. NAMBLA was originally affiliated with the International Lesbian and Gay Association, ILGA, and the pedophile movement was a branch of the homosexual movement. In 1993, the ILGA achieved United Nations consultative status. Republican Senator Jesse Helms proposed a bill to withhold $119 million in U.S. contributions until U.S. President Bill Clinton could certify that no UN agency grants any official status to organizations that condone pedophilia. The bill was unanimously approved by Congress and signed into law by Clinton in April 1994. Under great pressure, the ILGA nominally expelled NAMBLA that year, trying to distance itself from pedophilia. But the UN reversed its decision to grant the ILGA special consultative status. NAMBLA reaffirmed its relationship with ILGA by stating that man-boy love is by definition homosexual, that man-boy lovers are part of the gay movement and central to gay history and culture, and that homosexuals denying that it is not gay to be attracted to adolescent boys are just as ludicrous as heterosexuals saying it's not heterosexual to be attracted to adolescent girls. Reportedly, the ILGA was remaining secretive about ties with pedophile groups, and its attempt to gain admittance to the UN was repeatedly rejected for years. What's more, the American mainstream media has actually been secretly helping the pedophile movement. For example, the New York Times has repeatedly published opinion articles trying to exonerate pedophiles from legal responsibility. Namely, they published an article titled, "Convicted of Sex Crimes but with No Victims," regarding the police fishing for child sex predators. They questioned that an online sting operation to catch child predators snared hundreds of men. What were they really guilty of? Suggesting the crime should be justified and pedophiles should not be convicted. What is happening in America today actually fits perfectly with the blueprint that had been designed and plotted decades ago by the communists. The blueprint was well described in the book The Naked Communist by former FBI investigator Willard Cleon Skousen, published in 1958. The Naked Communist lays out the entire progressive plan for destroying America and lists 45 goals that the Communist Party had set to subvert the United States from within. Let's see a few of the goals listed. 25. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. 26. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, healthy. 40. Discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. It is no coincidence that Willy Munzenberg, a famous communist and one of the founders of the Frankfurt School, once said that we must organize the intellectuals and use them to make Western civilization stink. Only then, after they have corrupted all its values and made life impossible, can we impose the dictatorship of the proletariat. It is unbelievable to see how many communist goals have been achieved in America and how quickly they have been achieved. As we watch the rise of homosexual and pedophile movements in America and the destruction of traditional American values, it's now becoming increasingly clear that communism is the source of all evil. The battle against communism is the only way to save America, the world, and the civilization of humankind.